guys? Davenator1, 2, and 2, and it's a discussion day. It's going to be kind of a card talk, but it's also going to be kind of an assessment of legacy support in general. The legacy support I'm going to specifically focus on today is Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. At first glance, this card seems like it is like a Dark Magician player's dream come true, fixing every problem with the deck. But, it doesn't. So let's break this down before we get into our more grandiose discussion about legacy support in general. What does Dark Knight even do? Well, it's a big old dragon fusion with blue eyes stats made of one dragon monster and one Dark Magician. It counts as the monster Dark Magician on the field and in the graveyard, which is just, that's just perfect. It also says that spells and traps that you control cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Again, mwah. This thing fixes two glaring problems with the Dark Magician deck. One, Dark Magician is a big vanilla. And unlike Blue Eyes White Dragon, which tends to synchro a lot more with the Blue Eyes White Dragon or make XC plays, Dark Magician really does kind of just play Dark Magician. It can make rank 7 plays, but it's not as reliable as the Blue Eyes. So therefore, a lot of times you have Dark Magician on board, which doesn't do anything. And because this thing counts as Dark Magician on the field and graveyard, this thing works with your Circle, it works with your Dark Magic attack, it works with Eternal Soul, it works with, Thousand Knives. You get the idea. As well as fixing the second glaring problem with Dark Magicians, and that's that it relies very heavily on the trap Eternal Soul to make the deck actually kind of work, except Eternal Soul also ends up being the deck's greatest weakness, i.e. it turns into Torrential Tribute when it's sent from the field to the graveyard, making all of your opponent's MSTs and Twin Twisters into copies of Regeki. This thing preventing your back row from getting destroyed, as well as the protection that Eternal Soul bestows upon this thing because it is considered a Dark Magician, gives you this little kind of nifty soft lock. I really like the card, and it definitely addresses some problems the deck actually had. However, it doesn't fix the deck. The deck still runs into the issue where the primary search spells for Dark Magician, the magical illusion thing, requires a tribute of a monster, and Dark Magicians tend to play a low monster count deck, making that requirement just really ass backwards. Sure, Apprentice Illusion Magician is another great way of searching your Dark Magicians, but again, she's still a little clumsy, requiring the discard. Which kind of lets us go to the next glaring problem with Dark Magicians. Discarding cards isn't very good because the deck requires you to have like one of every single spell and trap on the field at any given time for it to function properly. You need one copy of Navigate set, and one in the grave, one Eternal Soul, one Circle, and preferably Dark Magic attack in hand to deal with some back row. Oh, and you need a Dark Magician in the graveyard and one in your hand. That needs to be at all the same time for you to win. That's way too much. I would have preferred some legacy support that actually addressed the consistency problems and not the oops, I killed myself with Eternal Soul problems, which frankly isn't that big a deal for the deck. With all the graveyard resurrection and things like that the deck can play, killing your Dark Magician really isn't that big a deal. Ugh. And the weird thing about Dark Knight is it actually adds a new problem to the deck. Oh boy, we now have a big fusion monster that we don't really have a great way of playing. Eye of Timaeus is probably your most viable option for this card, except for the fact that Eye of Timaeus is unsearchable via Circle. Circle, of course, lets you excavate 3 cards from the top of your deck and then add a spell or trap that mentions Dark Magician in its card text to your hand. However, the wording on Eye of Timaeus isn't speaking about Dark Magician the monster, it's speaking about Dark Magician the archetype, meaning Circle can't search it. I know, it's stupid, it's just arguing semantics about the whole thing, especially because, let's be real, Eye of Timaeus is spiritually a Dark Magician card. It's the only deck you'd run it in. Why isn't it searchable? But because of that, our main way of getting to this big, stupid monster is an unsearchable, bricky card. You either run it at 3, meaning it just totally ruins your opening hand, or you're running it at 1, and you never see it, and therefore you cannot protect your Eternal Soul and garner all the advantage that this thing will let you have. So instead of fixing the deck, Konami gave us an impasse. Brick the crap out of your deck or ignore the card's existence. Yay.
Well, Davenator, it is a generic fusion monster. You could technically special summon it with polymerization or something like that, right?
Yeah, you could, except you need a dragon. Oh, trust me, me and Ryan, we tested the crap out of this deck trying to figure out some janky way of summoning this thing without Eye of Timaeus, i.e. a more searchable card like polymerization or any of the other fusion spells because you have like the predaplants and crap. And the best thing I could come up with was Dwarf Star Planet or Dragon. It searches Dark Magician. It's a dragon. There's kind of some gimmick there, and plus you could play Demise in the deck and just resolve Demise first during the end phase and then resolve your Planeter and then get the Dark Magician, so even Navigate is still alive on your opponent's turn. It's cute, I guess, except the fact that Planeter is not searchable. Fuck. Not to mention, if you're playing a really diggy Demise deck, you can't actually play a fusion card even if you searched it. Unless you're playing Flash Fusion, it's a quick play, you could set it like a trap. And hey, even if Dark Knight dies, you can just bring it right back. It is considered Dark Magician. I will get that to work. I will get it to work. Or you could just play, I don't know, OG Polymerization or Odd Eyes Fusion. Those are both pretty searchable. And hey, Odd Eyes Fusion, you get it with Sky Iris and Pop Bayo Baboon, make a rank 3. You can go into Rebarian Dragon and use that as material. And when you tribute it for the fusion spell, you can top deck the 7th one, meaning no matter how bad your opponent's turn is and just wrecks your board, you always got that top deck next. I'm going way off track. Long story short, the card causes way too many problems and isn't really a viable thing for a deck that wasn't really a fusion deck to begin with. And this is frustrating because Eye of Timaeus is the one legendary dragon that actually gets potentially ran in the character deck that uses it. Like Blue Eyes, they don't run the Fang and Critias. Have you ever seen a Blue Eyes deck with Fang and Critias? No. Have you ever seen a Red Eyes deck with Claw of Heremos? Well, maybe, because Red Eyes Dragon Sword is actually like a Red Eyes card, so there's a little more synergy there. But even still, it's still not very common. It's still kind of a janky-ass play. But hey, no, Dark Magician, of the 3 decks of the main characters, is the most likely to run its legendary dragon, and it has no way of getting at it. That's really dumb. Second part of this video we're going to go into, now that we've established that this really cool boss monster is really annoying for the deck to make, it brings us to a really, really weird thing that Konami loves to do with Legacy support. And give us the cards we want, not the cards we need? Or more, they're just not quite there. I get that they're just trying to sell packs, and if they give players playing Legacy decks Legacy support in any fashion, it will inspire them to buy packs and not really affect the meta at all, so they don't have to worry about some old rogue deck accidentally becoming a tier 1 deck and exploding out of the format. I get that's why they're doing it, however it's really frustrating for people who want to play old decks. And Dark Magician is by far a fan favorite deck. All of its cards retaining value way beyond the actual power ceiling of the deck. Like Circle was like $30 and the deck sucks. But because it's Dark Magicians and it's cool, people want to play it. I want to play it. It's a control deck. It's fun. Really lost to Zodiac and True Dracos, so at least I guess now it's technically more viable. So I guess that's why Konami does this. They give us crappy Legacy support for the lulz to throw us a bone without actually really doing anything and not actually catching decks up, just making sure that they at least acknowledge that they exist. It's annoying. I wish they wouldn't do it, and I wish they would just give us some broke-a-dope shit just for the fun of it once in a while, but no. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this whole thing. I love the card. I think it's really cool. I wish the stupid deck could make it better. So, that's my rant. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. And remember, guys, if you don't troll the meta, Konami will and release this fucking bad Legacy. Fuck. God damn it.
Remember to subscribe so that you don't miss any of my totally rad dueling. Watching more of these videos is almost as fine as Taya's ass? What? I'm not saying that. Fine. Then it's time to duel.